All right. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and non binaries, interplanetary, intergalactic time travelers. We salute you. This is Captain Oliver. Captain, I've been promoted, and I like to say I'm in a bunker I call Studio 72 in the People's Republic of Multnomah County. But it's really a figurative state of mind. If you're hearing this, it means two things. You survived the rapture. You survived the Christian rapture. Or was there a rapture? Isn't that bad if you miss the rapture? You're supposed to go with Jesus first, right? Whew, this stuff's difficult to really follow. Number two, really important, you survived the solar eclipse, the full solar eclipse. And it was dicey. For a couple of weeks there, I didn't think any of us were going to survive that. I mean, it was batshit crazy propaganda, which sold millions and millions of Airbnb, which is kind of good. Unfortunately, it looked like there was cloud cover over most of the track, and it really turned out to be a lot of hype. But, I have to say, that it really exposed how vulnerable the human mind, how vulnerable people are to hype, to the propaganda, to the hysteria. There was lots of violence, specifically a couple of the ones that are burned into my brain forever is the homicidal sociopath, gorgeous young women. Gorgeous young women. What's up with that? What's up with that? Gorgeous, beautiful women going on homicidal, sociopathic killing sprees because of the eclipse. One in Florida. I don't have those links pulled right on up. My computer gets so dicey and my computer gets schizophrenic just like these ladies if I got too many browsers open. So don't do that. Don't be like that. Um, and so, but I could have pulled them up. I'm raising funds to get a couple of new computers. We need them. But and send cash, crypto, and real estate to 41191. Um, the but the crazy ladies, the one that really hurt me was she's actually an astrologer, and I'm going to talk about a little bit of astro aspects tonight. So if you're turned off about that, have a good one. I'll make a little disclaimer about it, just my thoughts and feelings. But she was an astrologer stabbed. I mean, what is going on with all of these knife attacks and stabbings? It's like a tsunami of stabby has swept over us. Is that gun control? Did gun control, was it a success? Is it working? Because we got less guns now. Everybody's just stabbing the shit out of friends and family and their children and neighbors and road rage with stabbies. It's like I don't personally inclined to say that gun control is good or working or why, but are we going to demand and march for our lives for knife control? How are you going to control knives? How are you going to control background checks for a sharp, stabby dagger? You can't. How are you going to control mentally ill, the mental illness? We can't. We can try to make interventions, but it looks like to me, and I'm no doctor, but it looks to me the interventions are not working out so good. They're not working out the way we would maybe hope. I don't know. I don't want anybody to be stabbed. I don't really care what the circumstances are. And I certainly don't want to get stabbed myself. I don't even like saying things like that because I believe in manifesting. So you got to be careful when you joke and ask for things. It's like, oh God, bring me a girlfriend. I would say, whoa, 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 bro. Whoa, 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 bro. Be careful what you ask for. Don't get crazy on me. Don't start asking for some cray girl coming in your life and fucking your shit up. No, I mean, company's always good, but when you look at the news like I do, and I am a high information consumer, some could argue it's not good, but I think it is because I like to know what's going on and I like to do some analysis. But you do have to unplug. We have to unplug. I have to unplug, and I do. And it's important to do. I don't do it enough. I want to do some camping. Didn't do any camping last summer, and both my daughter and I are like, we need some fucking camping, boss. So you got to get out into the woods, get out into the forest, and thankfully here in Oregon, really the greater Pacific Northwest, we are blessed with some amazing forest, woods, ocean, mountain. You can go any direction, but I digress. I want to get back and just summarize the psychosis. There was a young lady, gorgeous, cute little gal, in Florida, I believe. She said that God told her to stab and kill, and so I think it was a domestic thing too. The other one that really killed me is it hurt my heart, killed my heart, was the astrologer woman, where it's like, my God, and she had what looked like kind of like witchcraft and satanic stuff, and I hate to use those words loosely, but maybe even like voodoo. Like that's been my theme lately. I've been having these, like, I don't know how to say it, not really a vision. It's not like some big fucking whoa bro, nothing like that, but just this whole voodoo, this tsunami of voodoo energy. Literally voodoo from Haiti, the cannibalism that people are denying that happens down there in Haiti, and very, very real. There's lots of videos. I ain't gonna play them, especially with YouTube here, but it's very real, and they're doing very weird shit. And that energy has been here in the States for quite some time. There's things called urine trees. I made a video, probably think last month. I don't make very many videos, so it's not hard to find them. But I did a whole piece on the urine trees where they put the urine, and sometimes they put blood hanging onto these trees. And the spirit world, is supposed to come and do something there. I guess for the best of whoever's urine it is. Pretty crazy shit. But it kind of feels that way. Like this gal, I can't remember her name. I should have. Maybe I didn't do a research on her in particular, but I should have. That's another video, which I probably won't do, but it really is a deep dive on her, because they showed her apartment and she had all kinds of witchcraft and things set up, but she was doing some astrology, and she probably had psychic intuition and wasn't managing it well and wasn't dealing with it well. And that's really a theme of my brief video here tonight. Happy Saturday night, by the way, the 13th, 413. Is that we have to do better coping mechanisms, I guess is the short way of saying. We have to deal with these energies, and that's really the epic fail that I see happening with stabbing. She threw her daughters out. Did I finish my thought and sentence on that horrific crime? She threw her daughters out of the fucking car on the freeway at high speed. It almost makes me want to cry thinking about that shit. It's, one died, and apparently one of the daughters lived. Pretty sure she's dead. And then she stabbed a boyfriend and an 8-month-old child, which, a psychologist could easily jump in, or even a psychoanalysis analyzer could say that it could be postpartum depression. Now, postpartum depression is real shit. Prepartum psychosis is my little thing that I keep to myself, because it's a preprint and I haven't had it peer reviewed. But the hormones do some cray things, and they exasperate pre-existing conditions with pregnant women. That third trimester can be very dangerous. I'm not kidding. And I've lived through it, and I survived. I mean, when they tell you to go, you go. And I left. and then I just would come and take her to errands and appointments. I never missed any of the appointments and all kinds of stuff. I always brought food and things like this, but I wouldn't go back in the apartment in on that third trimester because quite frankly, she was completely delusional. I mean, she even called the police saying things, and then they're like, "Well, are you in danger?" No, I just don't want him here. And I'm like, "Well, why did you call the police?" They're like, "Well, why did you call the police?" She's like, "Yeah, I don't know." I mean, she could have easily have said that I did something wrong, like make something up. I mean, that's a quick way to just create total chaos for an expecting father. She didn't. She didn't. But the whole fact that she's picking up the phone and making random crazy calls, it's like, no, I don't have to be here. Anyway, so I digress on my own personal experience, but I'm not the only one. And so the postpartum depression is very real to where it's psychosis and the hormones are way out of whack and they can kill their babies. They're like, I don't think I can do this. I haven't slept for 3 months. I'm angry or I'm pissed off. I'm depressed, and they want to kill the babies. And many times the mothers will kill the babies, um, or leave them, or throw them out of a moving car. She apparently stabbed this astrology woman stabbed him. So she was talking about in her post they were digging up about the eclipse that my long ramble out onto the diatribe there of the branches was because she was talking about the eclipse. She was freaked out about the eclipse. It was God was coming. And if you notice, and I saw on X that all the posts, people mocking the Christians and mocking the religious beliefs. I mean, there was even one person that said there was 15 different cities all named after a city out of the Bible, and 15 different, all the same city name in 15 different states. I mean, I was like, okay, so, and this was the hype of that eclipse. This was the mania. And unfortunately, I don't want to just point it to it's broad stroke of low IQ and ignorant, dumbass, dipshit ding dongs. I don't want to do that because I don't think it actually is accurate in this case, although there's plenty of those SOBs out there, especially online. And, I'm at the point where it's like, just fire it off. I mean, it's like, look, dipshit, before you step on my thread, it's like, people gonna regret stepping on my fucking threads. Because, bam. But that's just where I'm at. I mean, it's like we don't have time for this kind of ignorance. But this was really different, in my opinion. It was an eclipse psychosis. It was an eclipse-induced temporary psychosis. Well, temporary is permanent when you're dead. Temporary eclipse psychosis is permanent when your old lady stabs you to death in the apartment, kills your 8-month-old son. I think it was his son. And then I think they were his daughters. I don't know. Maybe they were daughters from another daddy. I don't know. But she fucked him up. Beautiful lady, in my opinion. She was gorgeous. I mean, I would have loved to have talked to her. And, what does that make it? She probably would have tried puncturing a hole in me. I don't know. God almighty. Really tragic. But those two were the ones that really burned into my psyche. So that's first 15 minutes just rambling about that. I think it's good to recap on that eclipse, the solar eclipse. And there's not going to be another full solar eclipse over America for quite some time. I think maybe even several years, whatever it is. So, and my daughter and I were house sitting, watching cats and this cool boa snake, and it was fun. We were house sitting for like a month during that eclipse in 2017, the one that came straight over Oregon and dipped on down. And I think it went out the Gulf Coast, but we saw that, and I was sitting there, and I did some different. It's kind of similar to this. Can you see that? This is some new ones here. This is the eclipse. My rendering of the eclipse. These were actually, to be honest, these were October. Although for marketing, I posted a couple of ads on Craigslist. Didn't get any hits. Craigslist used to be a place to sell art, and I don't use it anymore because there's just so many. There used to be so many scammers and weirdos and whack jobs and ding dongs and misfits. I think that's over a bar in Newport, right? But so there is a couple of these, pretty cool. I thought they're cool. So I mean, you can make it like I did. What my point was, you say, oh yeah, get your 2024 eclipse, but technically, these were the October one. I think the lunar eclipse. Was it a lunar eclipse in October? I don't know. And did I show this? It's right here. It's the man of the arena. Man of the arena. And the Taurus. So you got the running of the bull, the matador, right? So I got a Taurus sun sign. Used to have really big running of the bulls Taurus parties for a week, just an excuse to party for a week, and we did. We partied hard, roasting, smoking whole salmons and bands for days because we had all of these Taurus energies. I have like 2 or 3 different, well, be accurate, at least 2 friends with May 3rd. On May 3rd birthday. And then I got May 5th friends. Max, I think, is the 8th. I think he's the 8th. May 8th. 5th or the 8th. No, Cinco de Mayo. So you had Cinco de Mayo. You got May Day. I mean, that whole week is just screaming, drink too much and have fun. Carpe diem. Seize the day and nurse the hangover the next morning. Now, see, when you're partying like that, there is no hangovers because you just, breakfast, it's Bloody Marys or whatever. You just keep it rolling. And then your liver goes on strike and you have to stop doing that. That kind of lifestyle is just going to kill you. But so will the solar eclipse. Especially if your old lady goes batshit crazy and stabs you to death, right? Why'd you quit drinking if you're going to have your old lady stab you to death? I digress. But, did I play a little bit of that music? Let's listen to a little bit of this. Which one was this? This is the Prince Fatty. Prince Fatty. This is SoundCloud, and the beat goes on with Holly Cook. That's sweet.
And the beat goes on.
The beat goes on.
Just like my love everlasting. And the beat goes on. Still moving strong. On and on. Do you ever wonder that to win somebody's got to lose? I might as well get over the blues. Just like fishing in the ocean, there'll always be someone new who knows you better. You did me wrong, but I've been through stormy weather. And the beat goes on.
Beat goes on.
Just like my love everlasting. And the beat goes on. Still moving strong. On and on. Don't stop on your body.
Love that.
This time I'll keep my feet on solid ground. Now I understand myself when I'm down. Like the sweet sound of the music, there'll always be something new.
I love that. I love the Holly Cook speaking on that. Super tasty. That one should be in the show notes. If not, I'm going to drop some in the comments on YouTube, the YouTube handle. Because I noticed that when I'm putting them in the show notes here on this StreamYard app, it's not a live link, like it's not blue and highlighted. So, it's good. That's a perfect example. That right there, that song, just a cleansing of talking about the stabbing and these beautiful ladies, young ladies, having total, for whatever reasons, believing God told them that the eclipse was end times. They probably heard that from hysteria and programming, right? But my point is just how vulnerable people are. If you tell them things, you program them. You got to abolish the police. For example, abolish the police, defund the police, kill the police, kill. It's 2020. All of a sudden, we have people kill, assassinating police. Fucking program like cyborgs. It went from abolish the police, defund the police, to kill the police. Kill the police tags all over Portland. And City Hall really quick to, they probably had people that are out at midnight going, oh, we got to make that shit go away. Don't let the press see that. I saw it because I was watching live streams. You had live streams, a couple different bros with 9, I think it was like 3 boxes, 3 and 3. So you'd have 9 different live streamers all over downtown, all filming crime, all filming dipshit anarcho-communists trying to burn police in their stations. The media didn't play that. That's why it affected me so deeply. That's why 4 years later, I'm still talking about it and pissed as all hell. Why else? Because history is repeating itself. We are still, not me, they are still programming the youth into killing the police. Kill Whitey. Kill Whitey. Kill the white people. They're colonizers. They're racist. It's a revolution. Kill. There was a girl in California, dipshit, thinks she's probably this great activist. She's there at city council and she starts spouting off. We're going to come into your house and we're going to kill all you council people. You're going to fuck with us? We're going to come into you. We're going to come to your house and we're going to kill you. Well, you stupid God ding dong. First of all, what's wrong with your fucking sociopathic mental illness? You're not an activist. You're a serial killer. You're a homicidal serial killer. She's been programmed into her little tribe, her little people. Wow, this is what we do. We're radicals. We kill city council people. Well, she's been arrested and she's now in jail. I just saw her. She's crying. Oh, God, I'm in jail. Yeah, you're in fucking jail, ding dong, because you were on video, being TikTok live stream, I think, threatening to kill. I think it was, I can't remember if it was Sacramento. I'm going to fuck up the name of the city, Richmond. I can't remember what it was. Not even sure exactly what the issue was completely, to be honest. I'd have to go back and review, but Andy posted a little but clips of that. And then I noticed yesterday, I saw even mainstream media is now picking it up. Oh, she's in prison? What happened? Well, she threatened to kill people on live stream in City Hall, City Council. This just happened. It's still happening 4 years later. It's like, oh, bro, I get this kind of shit vibe posts from social media, especially people in Portland, because we got nothing. We're so packed tight full of mentally ill sociopaths in Portland. It's not even funny. There must be like a Craigslist ad that says, come, wanted, come to Portland. Are you batshit crazy? Are you looking for Section 8 housing? Are you broke and want to mooch off the government? Multnomah County is looking for you. We'll pay for your bus ticket. There's got to be something somewhere, because it's just that crazy how many son of a bitches are out of their fucking minds in this town. It's actually the whole West Coast. You look at little ding dong lady who's in awaiting trial or awaiting hearing, awaiting indictment. Who knows? Somebody will bail her out and whatever. And it's so sad. There's so much sickness. And it used to be like everyone's like, oh, the men are really sick. Oh, all the men are the problem. It's the tide's really changed on that. Yeah, there's still some fucked up people. There's still some fucked up dads, unfortunately. I see more men just not stepping up, either given a chance to be a father or just not be able to psychologically step up and do it and be that care provider. But I digress. It's really the women have really stepped up to the plate to be vocal, taking lead and taking charge of their psychosis. I mean, it's like, let your mental illness inner star shine bright. Hey, you're crazy. Who can out crazy who? It's like people are like, oh, it's like a big thing of who's gonna out woke who. Nah, it's who's going to fucking out batshit crazy who. It's like I'm crazier than you're crazy. I'm gonna up your crazy and we're gonna go cry. It's that crazy. And it's not just Portland. It really is. I have to pull out because I've been here my whole life, and I don't fly around the world. I don't like to fly at all. But I mean, I could drive, I guess, down to the Southwest or something. But right now, with hell no. I mean, I wouldn't fly. I don't want to drive it. We're on the island of Oregon. I'm on the island of Oregon now, and I don't have any real burning desire to get into any fucked up shit anywhere else, to be quite honest. Although we are full and we are chock full of batshit crazy, and that is alarming. So we're gonna have to digest. Either we build some, little temporary, little cuckoo's nests, or we need some hospital beds. All of the above. All of the above. I mean, for many people, their apartments and their low income housing, their affordable housing, as all the fucking neoliberals like to say here in Portland. It's like, oh, we're building affordable housing. It's not affordable to anybody. The affordable housing is marked at $1,800 a month. How is batshit crazy ding dong going to afford $1,800 a month? Doing what? Making pizzas? What's wrong with you people? I mean, you Democrats are just so fucking out of whack. It's not just the Democrats. I mean, I read all kinds of comments from conservatives as well. Unfortunately, there is no savior in Oregon. It's you've got like a handful of people that are like, what do we do now? And you're like, well, we're thinking alike. Let's have a beer and talk about this. And but then it's like, where do you go from there? All we can do is bitch, blog with a B, vlog with a V. Lars Larson, get on a radio, start up your Lars Larson radio channel. I mean, glad you guys are there screaming, but what's the plan? What's the plan? How do we turn this train wreck around in Oregon? Really, it's Portland. Most of Oregon, there's problems everywhere, don't get me wrong, but the concentration of mental illness is in Portland, Multnomah County. Concentration of dysfunction, junction, and largest lack of low income housing, not affordable housing that's not affordable, low income housing, which does include hospital beds in temporary type housing, like group housing, which I know there's some of that out there because I've worked in them with the youth. They look like a normal house. It's not a normal house. It's got 6, 7, 8, 10 bedrooms, and it's each one of those rooms is one client. Although you don't use the word client in the business social services because it's, especially with the youth, it's like a trick word, client. You say guest, right? Guest. I think that's. I haven't been in that business for so long. Thank God, my God. It's brutal, but we gotta recruit people to do the work because we need those workers, and that's really tricky because you get people that hate the police, hate Whitey. They believe in kill Whitey. They're just not killing Whitey yet. Waiting for that prime opportunity to head to the streets and try to blow up a federal courthouse like they did in 2020 for 6 months, or literally trying to burn police officers alive inside the precinct. I saw it on live stream. The guy had screw gun battery pack screw guns, like guns, and sheets of plywood. Sheets of plywood and screws, and they're trying to screw it in, did screw some of it into the building that has got civilians in there doing their civilian shit and police officers in the police precinct. That shit happened in 2020 in Portland. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about the hundreds of police assassinations that happened. Democrats did that. Kamala Harris bailed them out, created a fund so they could go back out and start assassinating other people in uniform. They're still doing it. I mean, they're still programming the youth. That's my biggest beef with the climate changes. You know, I could even agree, not anymore, but for 20 years, I was an advocate of different environmental concepts and awareness. Although most of them turned out to be bogus, including the largest one is recycling. Recycling. None of that shit's getting recycling. It's going to a fucking landfill. China ain't taking our plastics anymore, folks. It's the biggest fraud scam of all time. I digress. There's many others that are out there and lots of new shit that the globalists are pumping. And if these are the guys that are saying rice is creating too much CO2, so we got to stop farming rice. Forget the fact that rice is feeding 4 billion with a B, 999 million 4 times. That's what rice is doing. You're going to stop that? What happens when you stop farming rice and everyone needs it? They die. That's eugenics. That's the environmental movement today. That's the climate crisis. People crisis. And there's too many people. And it's really a dark green reveal that isn't talked about. That these people on all different levels of environmental action, they believe there's too many people. I think Bill Maher just said it. I saw something today. I don't know how new it was. I assume it's a brand new episode. I don't watch Bill Maher. I used to probably like 20 years ago or whatever it was. But he said something about he believed there was too many people. Abortion was wrong. That's what it was. Abortion is wrong. It's killing babies, but there's 8 billion people and that's just too many people, so it's okay. I think that's what he said, Bill Maher. That's fucked up. That's depopulation. And that's, unfortunately, I ran into the ranks over the last 30 years in Greens. And we would have heated, vicious back and forth privately. Or little groups. I mean, social media group that's private or, stuff like this. Most people don't want to talk about it. And most people don't want to admit it, that they're okay with people dying because it has to, because to save the planet and to save all these animals, that's the other part, is that many people that call themselves environmentalists, quote unquote, I'm doing all these scare quotes here, because it really is. It's just all batshit crazy. You got to put quotes in this shit, because environmentalists, they're not environmentalists. They're eugenicists. It's eugenics today, and which is just fucked up. But they I got them rambling. So they depopulation. They think the animals are more important than the humans. Was having a discussion with a friend's daughter out by the river, and really awesome time. I don't get out to Savi's Island enough. And that was a discussion we had. It came up. And we were talking about how she kind of felt that way, and how lots of other people that we encounter, I encountered and she encountered, we all, the group, that there's just too many people, and the animals are more the emotional, the heartstring goes to the animals. You don't think Al Gore didn't know that psychology when he's talking about polar bears and they're showing a little emaciated, polar bear on this little wobbly ice cube, the last iceberg in the Arctic, and he's starving and there's no more fish and he's all of that's bullshit. Polar bears have had the greatest fucking comeback, and it's all bullshit. All of it, including that there's no ice up there and it's all melting, and coldest recorded records on the books just the last 2 years, and little weird wobbles bringing that Arctic air down. That's why we've been having snow. Last year, or was it 2 years, in Portland, we had 2 inches of snow on this day, or maybe it was yesterday, this last couple of days. And I know that also because my Google AI that's tracking me like some sort of stalker mafia, they pop up and say, do you want to review your pictures? They've got all my memories from 2 years ago, which ironically, I'd forgotten. I'd forgotten it was late in April, not totally forgotten because I'd been using it as a talking point to push back against all this global warming bullshit. We had 2 inches of snow mid-April 2 years ago. Coldest April on record, or not, well, close. And the coldest air recorded regions on the globe the last 2 years. That's, you can go look, Google now, CNN. They've got 4 or 5 pieces, unless they're scrubbing them, but it's there. There's lots of these links that are on even Google. You don't even have to go into like, underground dark web to find this shit, or some sort of the vault, whatever they do that you go back and find the stuff that's been scrubbed and removed. You don't have to. It's there. So, that's a part of that psyops and that scam. People, they care about kittens. Why do you think kitten memes and puppy memes are everywhere and have been for 10 years? Because it hits that heart. It hits the human trigger where they can deal with people being slaughtered easier than a little puppy that's, oh, it's a starving puppy. Little puppy's, been beat, and he's like, and they got like a little fundraiser down there. Those people make millions of fucking dollars just from a dog in a kennel with a little pink spot on his face going. It does something to the psyche, and it's powerful fucking shit. It's really voodoo psyops. Back to that voodoo theory, right? So, okay. So let me switch up into Astro. It's been 40 minutes. I've been just rambling along. That's a part of why I wanted to do a video, because I like to just vent. You get all this stuff in the mind, and I've been having powerful, crazy dreams. Yesterday morning, I had this wild dream that these elder, old, kind of like pioneer spirits were in this house, and I was the curator, which I've done galleries and I've been the curator and stuff like that. So it kind of seemed like a natural kind of brain flip. But they were like, we want you to show the place like this homesteader style of how it was. And it was like, the irony was they were showing me all the switches, like all the electrical. I don't know if you've ever rented like an old shitty house. They used to be everywhere in Portland, and they just kind of like demolished them and are building, probably for the best of everyone. They're building like, apartment, like 4 levels, 3 levels, 4 levels, duplexes, fourplexes on what was these old shitty Victorian houses all over Portland. And that was, excuse me here, something's burning my eye. That's what all was affordable. In Southeast, I used to rent them for $600, 4-bedroom, just like that, just junker. All the electrical is shoddy. I mean, you just think about it, and it's like, God, what a fucking fire trap, right? Heating, cracked windows. I mean, just that. And then we got pushed out into North Portland, and we found those houses. They were all over North Portland, $600, $700, $800, 3 levels, basement. By the time you're subleasing it all out, everybody's only paying like $100, $150, $200. It was like, that was affordable Portland. That's the only way that we could do it. You can't do it that way anymore. And what they're calling the affordable apartments, so they replaced all those dumper little houses, are $1,800 for a very, very small new apartment, but very, very small, a couple hundred square feet, which I don't mind so much. I mean, I've had some really nice big warehouse spaces that are really inspirational, but I don't mind the smaller place. and being set up, it's just too high. It's not affordable. My rent went up again. Went up again. Every single year it's gone up. I couldn't afford it last year. And so I'm going to be looking at another round of paperwork being filed on me. I'm going to have to do this whole dance to try to find a nonprofit somewhere, if I can, to keep us housed. This is the cycle that we're in. The rents are going up. They're running us out of small apartments, and the rents just keep going up. But I digress. And it was a part of that anxiety that this dream came from. But the back to the irony is all the light switch weren't working. It's like, these old little clicky things that is like, it's like, nah, nothing's working. This old stove, burner won't come on. It was like, I thought, wow. And then I had this anxiety in the dream about it being a fire trap and it's going to burn, I'm like, shit, it was like, but then it was like the spirit world was saying, or somebody there, something was saying, well, we want you to do a portrait of us. And I, in the dream, I didn't question it in the dream. I was just like, taking notes, and it's happening so fast in the dream. But when I woke up, I was like, I can't sell that. I mean, can I? I mean, I can't sell like some old homestead, like Van Gogh did of the potato eaters. It's like all dark and black, and you got these gruesome people like, depressed and eating a fucking potato. It's like, who buys that? There's a reason Van Gogh couldn't sell that shit. I think, God bless you, Van Gogh. He's a fucking millionaire now after he's dead. But it's the way it is sometimes with artists. You're fighting, pay rent and the electrical, and after you die, somebody makes a little money on you. But it was really an interesting dream, and just the irony. There was like messages that were coming out. There was metaphors and symbolism to me, and to have it be such a, what do they call that? The vivid dreams, a vivid dream, that it was just so real. I was there in these tiny rooms, and the other strange thing is that I was showing it to these like antique roadshow collectors, older white women. It's like all older white women. And they're just all like squawking like chickens, like, oh, yeah, you did really good. They're talking to each other about all this different, staging, like the blue glass, the old blue glass. You ever seen that old antique blue glass? It's kind of cool. There was like all this type stuff that was it was like staged. It was set up, and I was there to show it, to show to the modern, I'm interpreting it now as the neoliberal Democrats that have really fucked Portland. The ones that have got money and just kept flipping and renting and raising rents and kind of, living great, driving Volvos and BMWs, when the rest of us were barely getting by. And now there's several thousand that are in the streets living under blue tarps and blue tents. Yeah, there's a lot of drugs. And that's true. But how did they get there? Maybe they got there because of the drugs. Maybe they got there because they couldn't pay rent. And then the drugs is how they numbed out the fact that they're prostituting themselves to get money, or, it's a complicated deal. The causation versus correlation. The homelessness correlating with the drug use causing homelessness. But those that just got booted, and then you get into that culture, it's kind of like boxcar riding. I used to have people, I've had a number of houses where multiple rooms and I sublease out. People come from all over the country. Oh yeah, we heard about your place at a drum circle at a rainbow gathering in Arizona. And I was like, what? I mean, today I would say, you're with the feds. I mean, you are clearly a fucking FBI operative. But they were really too young for that. Back then, it was just like, what? It was, okay. Yeah, actually, I do have a couple of rooms. And, you guys got to cut the drums out around 10 or 11. I got attorneys next door to keep calling the police on us. I mean, it was really intense. And what did I want to say? When I ramble like that, sometimes I get memories and flashbacks, and then I forget what my theme was. But it's the boxcar people. They loved it. They fucking loved it. I mean, back in the day, and they weren't strung out. Well, actually, who knows? There's always drugs everywhere, but I mean, they weren't like fentanyl yoga, like this, like not like today. But and they would jump on the trains and ride trains. It's like train spotting. Isn't that a movie? But these guys, that was real time, and they loved it. They got out. It was a free trip. They're writing their song. They got their guitars and lyrics and poems. One's writing on books. I mean, it's there's a vagabond lifestyle where people choose that. Doesn't necessarily mean that the drugs caused them to go do that. It may be the lifestyle being out there. Maybe they get they're vulnerable or subjected to it, and then they get pulled into that. I've known guys like that it does happen, but I digress. So I want to transition over into the Astro aspects, because so I have to first say the disclaimer. Now, I'm very hesitant to get into astrology because everyone poo-poos it. It's mocked, it's criticized, and they say it's pseudoscience. Sure, there's some pseudoscience to it. But what I look for, and this is what many deep thinker astrologers, who's my favorite the little buttery English cookie? God, I like her. I think it's Pamela. Well, I like to call my brain calls her Pamela because I like the name Pamela. She goes I think it's Pam Gregory. She's over in Europe somewhere, France or British, UK. Really good astrologer. In fact, I'll link what she just said about this Uranus and Jupiter conjunction. And she's a deep thinker, and she's also psychic, and or whatever you want to call this. And I have a connection with her. Like, she might have even have been in my dream yesterday, in that old antique house. I think that she was one of the Antique Roadshow type ladies that came in and was, but I didn't know her as Pamela as that. And it might just be that she fits that kind of like, I don't want to say middle age and I'd hate to say white lady. I hate both of that. It fucking sucks. But yeah, that was kind of, the vibe. And they've either had successful or they've got some success. They're not hurting for money and financially necessarily, and they've all got a little hustle, and that's the antique thing. I don't know if you've ever experienced that. I've been exposed to that, and being an artist, those are the kind of people that come and buy artwork, or they have you commission you, and they have you paint something that's got to fit a particular genre or small hole. That she's got just a little space on the wall of 16-inch by 20-inch, and it's got to be this and these colors. It's got to be green and blue. That kind of a thing. It's Pam Gregory fits that in. She's it's really strange when you've never met someone, but I don't know if you've ever felt this. This is the empaths will know what I'm talking about. That intuition of where now I actually believe that I've encountered her and was talking with her in my dream in this old house. And not just her, but it was, and it's just funny because I've never met her. She has no idea who I am. I have no idea who she is. Although she's got tons of followers and she's an author and she's actually an accomplished professional, right? I mean, whatever that means, different than me. No, I don't know, but it is what it is. And how you feel like you have a relationship with them or a friendship. I get that weird thing with Alex Jones and even his wife, who I've never met. Yeah, I've had like I've read a couple of her tweets, but I feel like I've talked with her like psychically. Like like even saying something like, "Oh, well, Alex has got this problem with his foot, and like I've had a conversation, and I never have. It's probably people would say, "Dude, that's crazy shit. That's batshit crazy." But Alex Jones, it's like I feel like he's like a brother. I feel like he's like a member of the family. When you watch someone and they talk about their personal life, and you respect them and admire them, and they're like a brother. It's like they're like a little brother in a way. It's really weird. But I get that with some people. It's not everybody. And so Pam Gregory is one of them. There was another astrologer. And the reason I'm talking about Pam is because she nails it. She just spot on drills in like 40-minute video of this Uranus Jupiter conjunction. It's very rare. And then back one step, I was talking about Molly. And so then my little AI mafia stalkers, right? When they see what you're liking and you're doing, then they send you these suggestions. So they send me these people, right? This is YouTube and Google or Google and the bigger part of it. So then this Molly gal pops up out of nowhere. And I think there was like a few videos, never saw her face. Like she's just doing a chart. So I had no idea. Turns out she's this long, blonde haired, cute little gal. And she's got these eyes that kind of make me nervous. But she nails this Uranus Jupiter conjunction. And she mentions a couple of things. For example, not only is Uranus and Jupiter going into this massive, significant, rare conjunction that only happens like every 13 years. It's even more powerful than an eclipse, really, to be totally blunt, as far as the astro aspects and the dynamics on our beings, on our brains, on the electromagnetic energy, on our relationships. And you're gonna go like, "Oh, bro, this is where you lose me." That's fine. You don't have to listen to it. But there is some truth here, and I believe, and there is some science, and more importantly, the psychology, the study of the mind, the science of the mind, is in play when you talk about Uranus, which is the underworld, the underboss, the black market. In Taurus, again, this is the running of the bulls. So we're clicking into this running of the bulls where Jupiter, the biggest, it's almost like a sun, probably was on some level back in the day. I don't know. Who knows? But it's gaseous, right? It's conjunct with the Uranus in Taurus, right? So can you see that? You see that behind me? I did this painting several years ago before I'd ever heard this red heifer prophecy. Look at this. These are fucking red heifers. Can you see it? It's the painting behind me. I did that years ago. Within the last 5. I did that since I've been here. I've been here 5 years in this apartment. Red heifers. Red heifers is Judaist, Zionist belief of what's happening. The ashes of burning, pure, virgin heifers, the ashes are used to purify the temple for the rebuild and the reconstruction and the takeover of the globe. It's a part of almost like the coming of a Messiah. They're a Messiah. They don't believe in Jesus, right? There was no Jesus. So it's not the coming back of Jesus. That's Christianity, right? So they believe there is this type of Messiah type thing that comes with this red heifer. And I actually have an article on this that we could look at. Um, whether you're interested or not, damn it, you're gonna fucking read this shit, dude. No, you don't have to. But I wanted to show you real quick on the astrological aspect. So I don't have. I'll put the Molly's little Molly McButter, the Astro. I'll put hers in there. She's got a short one where she kind of talks about some of the things that are going on, and then she has a longer one that I saw yesterday that popped in. It's actually where she just shows the chart. And I found that one actually, maybe it was because just her eye, she's intense. It's like impasse. It's interesting how the astrology and the study of the stars and psychic energy and intuition and impasse, they tend to have this kind of interesting persona. Make it what you want. Some of you are saying that's because you guys are batshit crazy, and you all have that in common. And so these are characteristics of crazy motherfuckers. And to you could be right. No. But it's hard to explain intuition and psychic impressions to people that are not psychic or even intuitive, like just totally numbed out, don't have a clue about any of it, can't read people. They look at people and they can't read them. They have no idea what these different mannerisms and the way people speak and what that means about them and what's going on. There's just no interest there at all. And you can't teach somebody that. I mean, maybe you can, like the old the psychic schools or the mystery schools, maybe the mystery schools. But I actually believe you actually have to have some of that skill and talent coming into the school. And you're not taught this stuff. I don't believe that. It's existing in you through a spiritual awareness. If you're open, you can get that. But once you have that, I believe it can be nurtured and it can be grown. But you also have to learn to kind of put yourself in check, kind of remove yourself, kind of unplug. You have to do that. Because, like the example I opened up with you're throwing your children out of a speeding car. I mean, Jesus, lady, God, that kind of, that's a fuck up. Whatever was going on, whether it was drugs or Satan, witchcraft, voodoo. She's got voodoo spirit. The other girl I talked about that stabbed and killed boyfriend or whoever it was in Florida, I got that voodoo vibe from her too. But anyway, I'll digress. So this Uranus and Jupiter, two things I got to say before I click on the chart and just show you briefly. I'm not going to go and do a deep dive because I want you to go check out Pamela, the buttery British tea biscuit. That's what I call her because I like her a lot. And watch her video because those are the professionals. I'm just gleaning. But two things. Pamela, I believe, was pointing out she likes to keep things positive. And I'm not feeling positive about any of this. This is not only do we have the Uranus and Jupiter conjunction happening on the 20th. So couple of days, it's like 19, 18, 19, 20. So this is all next week. This is next week, folks. This shit's coming. It's like a locomotive, an Astro locomotive coming, man. It is, and it's going to run over a lot of people. And don't let it run over you because it's got potential to run your ass over. It's also looks like a relationship wrecking ball. Little Miley Cyrus, and wasn't it, who was that greasy douchebag porn star? Was it Ron Jeremy? Ron Jeremy does his, it's like there's a reason some guys should just keep a shirt on. Even when they're, getting naked, they should keep a shirt on. But that's that whole relationship wrecking ball. That's really what the stars are lining up to do. Then the other thing, a couple of them, I guess I already, was that one? I don't even know. I'm rambling. I'm sorry. is that every 13 years these line up, but they're not in, like, this is Taurus, right? Last year they were, or not last year, 13. Well, actually, there was this weird 2023 shift that they did some of this alignment. So this energy is actually already been in effect. This chaos agent, this Uranus, 2011. What happened then? My daughter was born. Magical, spiritual, unplanned alignment dropped right out of the heavens into my arms. 2011, I'm got this football, smaller than a football sized being, baby, and I'm feeding her, watching Al Jazeera because you don't sleep. Every 2 hours you have to feed, burp, and do a diaper. I did it all. Me. Okay? You gotta give dad some credit when they do that shit. I did it. And I enjoyed it. It was really amazing. But it was the Arab uprising. Now, some of you could jump in and go, well, that all CIA? There very well could have been some CIA type of instigation. Quite frankly, what isn't CIA instigated today and 20 years ago and 13 years ago? But the point is that Egypt had violent revolutionary uprising. Tunisia, I think there was a farmer that then set himself on fire from some protest. All of that sparked violent revolutionary uprising with this conjunction, shoulder to shoulder, shotgun, hombre and hombre walk into a bar, pow, pow, Jupiter and Uranus. Uranus has been in Taurus for a long time, and Jupiter is now just glitching in. A whole bunch of Venus and the goddess of love, they're all going to be clicking in and going to be doing some Taurus action here, which is the running of the bulls, the red heifers, right? Because that is what's happening now. Tie in the red heifers. Where'd the red heifers come from? Texas. And just like the eclipse, from going over Texas, across through there and back over the Atlantic, Israel, you could say, towards that direction, that's exactly where the red heifers, the travel they did. They had to have been on an airplane. Did they do them on a boat? Maybe they did them on a boat. Pretty sure they flew them. Maybe it was just DNA. Pretty sure it was the red heifer livestock that came from Texas, now in Israel, right now. And that one article that I've got up here, I'll post in the YouTube comments, is talking about there's a conspiracy that the Muslims know about this red heifer and they're trying to stop it, and they're going to create World War III to stop the prophecies and the red heifer. And it's really batshit crazy. It's just as batshit crazy of all these religious fundamentalists that came out like termites out of the woodwork saying that the eclipse was all about Jesus and rapture and passing over 15 different cities all out of the Bible and repent. God bless Marjorie Taylor Greene from Georgia. She even was tweeting, posting about repenting because Jesus was coming for the eclipse. That was the hysteria that people killed themselves and killed others over. That is real. It is what it is. That's the science of the pseudo science, if you will. The red heifer, the running of the red heifer. That's the Taurus, the 1st of May. Just like my parties, all my friends, Taurus people love other Taurus people. It's because we like beauty, we love arts, we love all of it, and that's social. We're people person, generally speaking. Not everybody. It depends on what other else is going on in your chart. I've got 3 Gemini, so it makes me chatty Cathy and a little nutty at times, and I tend to. I'm good with people, but I don't necessarily want to stick around for all their dirty shit. It's like I move on. If someone disrespects me, it's like, And it that's kind of brutal. It's kind of mean, I guess, in a way. I don't know, but it is what it is for me. Now, other people, so you have to look into your chart. You have to take a look at the astro aspects to see if the pseudoscience lines up with some psychological science. And like I said, with the Taurus and the Venus and the relationships, also in this chart, and we can take a click at it here. Is it probably a good transition to take a look at it? So let me click back. Oh, it's very small. Then I have to click on this one for full screen. Probably can't even see that, but I just wanted to let you see what I'm talking about. I don't know if you can see how well you can see that. So this is a prenatal chart. So what I did, this is, and this link is in the notes, Astro Cafe Astrology. You can do this to look up. You type in your birth date. You want to get as close to the time you were born and the location. They'll ask those couple of things. And that kind of helps with the houses, although it's not super critical, really, because where the science, the astronomy, not the astrology, the astronomy of what comet was Chiron the comet in the spot, where was it in the sky, where was Venus, where were all the planets, that's astronomy. They make patterns, and they do certain patterns at certain times. Sometimes they're 13 years. Saturn does a 27-year pattern. It's called Saturn return. Then it does it again in your 50s. That's why there's midlife crisis. That's why you see people buying sports cars when they're 50, 55. It's Saturn return. You're dealing with that life and death. I also believe with Saturn, the 27, Saturn has nothing to do with what I'm talking about, but let me say this. 27 years, Saturn, where it was in the sky when you were born, 27 years, it makes a full rotation. Think about how many people die at 27. Think about all the famous people that have been dead at 27. Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, wasn't Jim Morrison? I mean, the list is like hundreds of people. Hundreds. So what's up with that? What if you don't deal with these traumatic things from your childhood? They come back and haunt you and can kill you. Literally kill you. And around 27, sometimes it's 26, 27, sometimes it's 28. Doesn't have to be this like exact little bing, little alarm clock goes off and it's like, it's 27. You better get your childhood worked out or you're going to kill yourself. Beep, beep, beep. No, it's not like that at all. But so what's happening here, and Pamela points this out, and I think Molly McButter does on hers, is that it's creating a T-square. So you have this line coming, this is the moon, this line coming, and then this straight line here. But I see this triangulation, and this is a really poor graph. You'll see on both Molly's and Pamela's charts that they show are much more high-tech and much more obvious. You see these massive trines, these triangulation, this holy pyramid, these holy triangles with this alignment. So here's Jupiter, here's Uranus, this is Taurus, see the bull or the horns, and here's the sun, here's Venus and Aries. There's a whole cluster in Aries. I'm not a fan of Aries. It's the me first. It's selfish, it's self-centered, but it's also like, people will spin it. Pamela's really good at spinning things and making a positive note because it's not all negative. But for me, it's like stranger danger. I use the astrology and the alignment and the misalignment to say this is danger approaching, and this is that time. And I don't want you to be panicked and scared because we've already been in this constant state of panic and fear, and we've already had some of these astral alignments that are already affecting the planet, affecting the country, affecting us. It's not something new. It's just going to intensify. And this is a relationship strain. This is the danger. And Pamela goes into a much better alignment of that. But she was calling it a T square, right? So here's your T. These lines are conjunctions of planets. Like this is Pluto. So Pluto is, at odds with this or triangulating with the moon. Venus, the moon. That's called a triangulation. There's opposition. The moon is opposite the sun, just like every full moon. Well, the full moon is in Scorpio. Okay. Scorpio is my least favorite sign. So there's a full moon a couple of days, Scorpio, on the 23rd. Okay. So it's you've got the Scorpio, which is revenge, bloodbath, payback, relationship killer. It's where girlfriends stab you to death and then throw your daughters out of a racing car on the freeway. That's Scorpio shit. That batshit crazy isn't kissing. Now, there's wonderful Scorpio people. I've always attracted Scorpio women. It's like magnets, right? I even have a little prop here. It's like this is the for drawing. You can't really see that, can you? It almost looks like a spider, but these are the bones. So if you were going to draw a scorpion skeleton, and it's the stinger. It's that stinger that you've that's going to get you. There's no other sign. It's like having a poisonous snake for a zodiac sign. There's no other sign that's got a poisonous fucking stinger coming to get your ass. That's Scorpio. It's revenge. It's the payback. It's the big payback. Cue James Brown. It's the big payback. And it's also sexual intensity, seduction, beauty, right? It's like juicy Venus loves the Scorpio. But there's also trauma and demise. And if you fuck it up, or if there's a perception that it's fucked up, or a perception that you put them in danger, there's the stinger. Dead. See? So that is coming, I believe, around the 23rd. So, but you have to understand, it's not just exact one-day alarms. Okay? It's the full moon is days leading up and days after. The waxing coming on and the waning off. That Scorpio energy, the full moon energy, I should say, because it'll click out of Scorpio in a couple of days after the full moon. But it's my least favorite time. There's no other time that I ever issue warnings and heads up with relationships in danger all around, and is the Scorpio full moon. And if there's eclipses happening with it, it's all intensified. We have a conjunction of Uranus and Jupiter, which very rare, only happens every 13 years. The last time that they were dancing together, my daughter was born. And it was magical and it was powerful. It wasn't negative, but I'm watching Al Jazeera all night long, all morning long. Like I'm repeating myself, you don't sleep. And it's revolution after revolution, beheadings, violent uprising, death and destruction all over the globe. Whether the CIA was involved or not, it doesn't matter what the Astro. By the way, you don't think Deep State doesn't pay attention to this stuff? This is prime false flag season. Like we have a shortage of false flags right now? Oh, fuck, dude. What are you saying, bro? We are fucking neck deep in false flag operations. If you ask me, of course, I'm that guy. I'm the conspiracy analyst. I'm that guy. Uranus, the underground, the underworld. Okay? We're already neck deep in the cartels, the drug business, the drugs, the child trafficking and child exploitation. Biden's lost over 100,000 children. And now Catholic Charities wants the state, wants Multnomah County, and wants Oregon to pay for these kidnapped children that they have flown out of Mexico, bussed up into caravans up to a point in Mexico, and then flown them. We followed them on MonkeyWorks. We followed the flights on Swift Air of what these people were doing, Catholic Charities. Now they're trying to play victim, saying, oh, these poor children. They need your money. They need a home. They need housing. And you just gave them tents. So you're a lousy white supremacist, xenophobic dirtbag because Multnomah County just handed all these kidnapped children tents and motel vouchers instead of giving them what? Wealthy foster families in Eastmoreland? Westmoreland? Southwest Hills? We didn't relocate them into some big gold money? The fuck do you want them? We got 7,000 homeless people in the community. All these wealthy neoliberal Democrat women don't give a fuck about them. We're going to freak out about these children that have been kidnapped from all over the world. It's not just Mexico, but they're coming up through Mexico, coming up through Panama, but they're from 150 different countries. It's not just like poor little Mexican children. There's a lot, but that's just a part of it. There's all kinds of different people that are being trafficked, children exploited. Now they want to settle them up here, and there's been this big psychological trip about it. They even had some teachers put together a fundraiser and said students in Clackamas County raised tens of thousands of dollars for these children. Catholic Charities is a $1 billion industry. Catholic Charities has hundreds of millions of dollars at their disposal. They brought them on brand new coach lines, brought them up on airplane flights for thousands of dollars, but yet they can't take care of them anymore because they want to normalize the kidnapping. They want to normalize this transplants. And I love cultural diversity. People say, oh, you're a xenophobic hater. And no, I got lots of love in my heart. But I got so much love in my heart, I don't approve of these Democrat psyop operatives, I should say, doing these guilt trips that we're supposed to take care of people that have been children that have been kidnapped and removed from their families or brought up through unaccompanied children, through cartels. So we're already dealing with this dark, sick, zombie voodoo illness. Voodoo zombies. Not necessarily the migrants themselves, the cartels and the evil and the darkness that's taking them. It's not necessarily the migrants that could almost, the children are clearly victims. They don't know what the fuck's going on. They're pawns in this voodoo cartel chess game. And that is going to intensify this next week and weeks to come. Probably the year, of course, right? Duh, dude, we know that. Okay, well, I'm saying this week coming on, leading up to the weekend, 4/20, so it's 4/19, 4/18, 4/19, so Friday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I think it's 4/20. Just think about all the weird psyops that have already existed for decades around 4/20. Isn't it Hitler's birthday? And I mean, people just fucking, it's not just about puffing and cannabis, although that's a part of it, but not really. There's all kinds of weird symbolism and occult type stuff around the April 20. I mentioned Adolf, but there's a lot more to it. I'd have to look into that a little deeper. It's always been a weird phenomenon. I don't know if it's Earth Day or around Earth Day. There's just this wild kind of pagan occult weirdness about it. And so now you're going to throw in a Scorpio moon with the shotgun pack of Jupiter and Uranus only every 13 years, 12, 13, 14 years, something like this, about 13, from what I understand. So I'm gleaning this from Pam and then this other Astro reader, Molly. They're both very intuitive and will rock your world. Do a much better job of laying this out better than me. But I got that intuition and spidey sense. And so that's when I watch and I see the truth and I can feel things and you get dreams about things that are coming up. And then of course my own personal bias against Scorpio, against that full moon of Scorpio. It's just intensity, and you've got to be a strong person like me. I mean, the Taurus is strong. That is that they're stubborn and bullheaded, but they are strong. Often, not often, sometimes, let me use the word sometimes, the bull in the arena kills the matador. Not all matadors kill the bull, right? And that's this piece right here, right? It's the matador. And usually, I mean, they'll usually outsmart it because the bull is just going to charge. You're waving around your little false flag, your little red flag. The matador's got his little false flag. That's classic, in my opinion, Uranus and Jupiter. That's my interpretation of the danger stranger. It's like, bro, we've already been having massive false flags. Well, this is a big one. This could be as big as I hate to say it, the word 9/11. I don't even know. YouTube probably killed my stream because of that. Who knows? I have no idea. I'm just saying it could be something on that level. We're waiting for it. We're looking for it. They need something like that to seize control. Biden's in big trouble. They need a war to try to spin these bad numbers and all this bank crash. That's the other thing Pamela said, is that she was talking about digital currency. Well, Taurus is about money and wealth. And there's that's the stereotype. There's a fixation or shiny little objects that we like. We're like, oh, wow, this is the stereotype. It depends on what other else you got going on your chart. I ain't like that. Unfortunately, I'm not hungry for money and wealth. And I say unfortunate because I could have done some things, and I still could. I'm not done yet, but it like this kind of beatnik kind of hippie mentality of where I don't need to handle the money. We do need to handle some money. We got to pay the rent and get some things together when needed. And so that I don't want to make this about me. I'm just kind of saying these are the stereotypes. So she talks about that this could be it's the chaos agent. Uranus, the chaos agent, teaming up with the biggest motherfucker in the solar system, Jupiter. It could be a market crash. Intentional banking market crash to bring in this global digital currency. Centralized, we don't like centralized. We want decentralized. Centralized, digital global crypto banking. That's what they want. They've already told us this. This isn't it is a conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy that's a theory and wild without any. They've told us this. This is something that InfoWars has repeated for a couple of years, at least 12 months. I think a couple of years. Many other people, not just lots. And that it was very interesting to have that come out of Pamela's mouth. That was like psychic intuition on her part. I think, or at least just an extra sensory perception, that ESP type of, where she said that. She goes, it could be, and she's just saying it could be. Again, Pamela's the optimist. She's putting the rosy spin on everything. She said that. All right. She said that about the digital currency. And it makes sense. I mean, the stock market's done a couple of big dips. I think it's really going to tank. And it's probably going to tank. They're trying to hold off to dump it on Donnie, dump it on Trump. That's my thing. That's my theory on it. Is if they're just try to pump the brakes enough where they just hand Trump crashed economy, crashed stock market, cryptocurrency tanks, it all, and then they'll try to come in with some global levers and he'll push back and do what he can, but there's only so much you can do when the price of gas, I mean, with this war, look for gas to be $10 a gallon here, probably in a month or two. I hope I'm wrong. Because when it went up to $5 or $6 a gallon the first year he took over, I said it's going to go to 10. I was wrong then, because they pumped the brakes, whatever they did, they brought that back down. He was begging to Saudi Arabia. He shot all of our emergency reserves out. I think he sold it to China. He sold our emergency fuel, American domestic fuel. I believe it was China. I could be wrong. Who else needs it? I think it was China. That's treasonous. And he hasn't refilled it. And now we're going to see $200 barrel oil and more. So you're going to see that. That's all coming this summer. Just the basic supply and demand. You don't even have to be empathic or intuitive about the basic economics. And I'm not an economy major by any stretch of the imagination. I'm an artist, okay? I mean, we don't what the fuck, about banks and money and blah, blah, blah. Fuck that shit. We want paint, oil, and creativity and beauty, beautiful women, beauty of all kinds, the trees, beauty. And so could be, it could be that time. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen next week and all the crash is going to happen next week. Because, as I said, this Uranus has been in Taurus for a long time, and it's so slow moving. Uranus is very, very slow. It'll probably be another year or two. I have to look at it, to look it up. I don't have it right there in front of me. Year or two on the whole thing, but so let me wrap this up. It's an hour and a half, which is insanely ridiculous. But this is just let me read this heifer thing here, just for a second. And again, I'll drop this in the comments. It should be in the show notes, but if it's not, and even then, the show notes are not highlighting, repeating myself. But so this is what is it? Charisma News? I don't even know. Anyway, it's there. It says, okay, so 4 red heifers currently meet the purity qualification for this sacred ceremony. And they're being held in an undisclosed location somewhere in the area of Judea and Samaria. Wow, I didn't know that. Land has been acquired on the Mount of Olives for the sacrifice, aligning with the biblical instruction in the recent built altar. Faces into where the Holy of Holies is believed to have been located. The significance of these events cannot be overstated as they align with biblical prophecies regarding the end times. Scripture provides insight into the significance of these events. In Daniel 9, chapter 9, verse 27, a verse often associated with the Great Tribulation, it's prophesied that sacrifices and offerings will cease. This implies the existence of a third temple in which these rituals can occur, paralleling the practices that took place in ancient Israel. The emergence of red heifers, right? These are pure red heifers. They're from Texas. And preparations for their sacrifice in Israel align with these prophetic markers and lead to a resumption of temple practices. However, opposition to these sacred ceremonies is evident. Even Hamas, they say fucking Hamas, and the entire Muslim world recognize the significance of the red heifer. Really? You think they're thinking about it? You really think they believe in this? And many seek to disrupt it. Why? A significant portion believes that this sacrifice will bring with it the destruction of the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the retaking of the Temple Mount for the Jewish people, along with the ushering in the Dajjal, the Islamic version of the Antichrist. Dajjal? I've never heard that before. I'm not Muslim, sorry. This shows just how intense the spiritual warfare surrounding the fulfillment of biblical prophecy is in our modern world. Got a hiccup. Amid the chaos and uncertainty of the present age, Christians are called to heed Jesus' admonition to watch, therefore, for you do not know what hour your Lord is coming. Matthew 24:42. The urgency of these times demand vigilance and discernment rooted in prayer and scriptural truth. Being ignorant of the times we live in is simply not acceptable for proclaiming Christian, as we come to the salt of the earth, not by the bystanders. So there's a little bit about the red heifer, and I think it really deserves another like a deep dive type video. Like some other people getting into it. I think AJ was talking. He may have done a deep dive on the red heifer because he did a deep dive on the eclipse and all that religious type of thing. So, and then this, they even have a YouTube link on it, which I'm not going to click on it because this little computer's brain is going to be totally fried and toasted. So the CME here, spaceweather.com, links in the notes. They downplayed the first one. They said, nah, it's not even this. And it's not it's a coronal mass ejection. It's a filament. It's not the solar flare per se. So it's not like an X flare shooting out. But it does say now that there's two of them. This changed from yesterday or the day before, and they're saying for tomorrow a geomagnetic storm is possible. It may or may not. Often these things just fizzle out, and it's a nothing burger. On April 14th, which would be anytime now, a couple hours, when two minor CMEs are expected to graze the Earth's magnetic field. The storm clouds were hurled towards Earth by magnetic filament eruptions on April 11th, which they poo-pooed, and then I think it was almost the exact same spot, the same area, same one, on the 12th. So back to back. Neither CME is particularly potent, but their combined effect could cause a G1 class geomagnetic storm, which is very low, and then the high latitude auras. So the aura chasers, they love that. That's what's going to create, which I think I hate to say it, but I really think it's going to fizzle out. We got bigger stuff coming. Keep your eyes on the solar CMEs and all that, because it's coming. We got bigger ones coming. This is a huge solar cycle. 25 is just outperformed, and it's not done. Then this goes into the red blob. It turns out it's not a new aurora phenomenon. No, it's Elon and SpaceX. Bum, bum, bum. Thanks, Elon. Your Falcon 9, your anti-orbit chemical blasting of all your shit. So it's creating these red blobs. It's punching holes in the ionosphere. And you got all these dipshits here on Earth talking about cow farts, talking about electric vehicles, which lithium batteries explode, and blah, blah, blah. There's all this hype and nonsense, and you've got these guys punching holes in the ionosphere and totally and completely shooting 400 million pounds of CO2 and all this different shit in different thrusters and burners for what? You guessed it, satellites. Yeah. So there's that there. And was that everything? Red heifer, the chart. This is if you take a look at the videos that I'll post on the buttery tea biscuit, sugar cookie Pamela, she's got a much better chart in that she plays off of. But look for this triangulation. Anytime I see that triangulation. The other thing is she called it a T-square. I can't help but feel like it's a upside down cross. Okay. So it's a lot better and a lot more positive to call it a T-square, and the T-square is going to have some powerhouse and all that. But an upside down cross, upside down crucifix has powerful symbolism. And that's with this conjunction happening, and then you've got the full moon all within this next week, all within a few days. So it'll be next weekend. The 20th, I believe, is Saturday, right? Of course, it is 7 days. So, and then you've got a couple days before then with this Uranus, Jupiter, and then the full moon on the 23rd. which you'll have a couple of days before with Scorpio. Really, it's just going to be the whole next week. I don't even want to, dick around with saying this time, this day, and all that, because the fact of the matter is that it's been happening. We're under these different energies. Pluto, I hate to repeat myself with that, and I'll just very briefly, it takes 247 years, 248 years to do a full cycle of where Pluto was. So that is when the birth, if they say the birth of America, 1776, that cycle of Pluto being in the sky, when all of that, fighting the British, fighting for the country, the formation of a new world, a new frontier, a new constitution, a new America, a new homeland, is right now. Or within the, I think, yeah, like right now, I think it was 23, right? But it Pluto moves so slow. 240, is it 247? I think it's 247 years to do that full rotation. It's now back. So you have Pluto's revolutionary energy on a global scale. Now with Uranus, the bad boy of the underworld, and Jupiter, the big godfather, side by side, 21 degrees. 21 degrees, exact same 21 degrees. And even when I think Uranus or Jupiter clicks to 20, they're still side by side, 21, 22 degrees. What the fuck? They're still right there. They're still right there. Uranus is, like I said, I'm repeating myself, it's been in Taurus for a couple of years, I believe. I'd have to look at it. It's very, very, very slow. So don't let the Scorpions take your cornbread, right? Because they're going to come for our cornbread. And it's a solar full moon. My least favorite. It's like, it got me. Oh, it got me. That's it. It's all over now. Nah, come on. We're stronger than that. You think that's the first Scorpions try to take my ass out? Hell no. Hell no. I'm a resilient mofo. I don't know who they're messing with. But just like every man in the arena, right? Sometimes the matador gets the bull, and sometimes the bull gets the matador. And we are entering every year the running of the bulls, one way or another. The Astro aspects get into this what I call the running of the bulls in more ways than one. We used to say, just because we were all Taurus, that we were all getting together and it was a big party. I miss those times. When's the last time you've been with a group of friends having fun and partying? It's been like probably 10 years for me. That's a part of being a parent. It's that all ends because you've got a baby and it's your whole life. But I think it's more than that. It's just with age, people come and go, people die. We've had a whole bunch of friends die from that Taurus little loop too. I just was talking to Max, and Sandy died. Sandy was a metal sculptor artist, and he got the jabs. I don't know who. Its union job demanded it. The effing union. How many people did the union whack demanding those jabs on their union members? I don't know. Hey, YouTube, censors, my handlers. I'm not a doctor. I want you to talk to your doctors. I want you to don't listen to my I'm not giving any medical advice. Does this look like medical advice? I'm talking about scorpions and astral planes and metaphysical stuff. I'm not talking about medic. I'm not talking about procedures and therapeutics that are killing everybody. No, never said that. Come on, lighten up. Don't kill this video. God bless, man. Peace out.